That the people that was dwelling in West Africa fled there. Here's a map. Okay, here's a map. So they fled there from Israel, because the people in Israel were not of Caucasian descent. They were people who had melanin in their skin, which would have to make them dark complexion, because the sun, you know, when you have melanin in your skin, you fight, your body can withstand the sun's rays. It actually heals the body, having melanin. The Europeans don't have any melanin. So we go from here, from Israel. When the Romans came down, they conquered. The Israelites fled into Egypt, because this is where the Israelites always fled. They always fled to the land of the Philistines and to the land of Egypt. Remember, King David fled to the Philistines for refuge when Saul was trying to kill him. Christ fled to Egypt when the Romans was trying to kill him.
Israel den bochuko fleni kanana jamanaka ninga nusi wati jam Misraim jamanaka.
We always fled into Egypt, we always fled into Libya, always fled into Algeria, all the way down all these other countries. All right, that's in Africa. Niger, Chad, Ghana, Mali, all these areas, Cameroon, these are the areas we always fled. So we were fitting prophecies when we did that. Okay, I'm going to explain a little further what we did when we were in those lands. Okay, but the general thing is the Israelites always fled west. Okay, they always fled west. Now I'm going to read this out of this book here called Hebrewism of West Africa by Joseph J. Williams. I'm going to go to page 64, and I'm going to read from the second paragraph where it says Yahudi, which means the tribe of Judah, Yahawada. It says, later, while criticizing a map that had been published by T. Edward Bowditch in 1819, says, beginning then at the top of the map, I find a place called Yahawada, Yehudi, a country or town of non-existence. Yahawada, Yehudi, simply implies Jews, the tribes of Jews, etc., which term the Muslims apply to those people in the Mosaic faith who inhabit the lower Atlas and the district of Suez. They also apply the term Yehuda to the Hebrew or Jewish tribes, whether native Africans or not, who inhabit Marah, that's where you get Moreno from, or Maroons, or the Moors, some parts of Fulani, and the neighborhood of Timbuktu. Okay, this is where we built our first. The Babylon of Timbuktu book. It says here that the black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes. They carried their culture, history, laws, and written records with them. This assured them a constant precedent for the development of a higher social organization. Because of the stability of the black Jewish culture, the Jews were not absorbed into the Autochthonous population. In fact, the Jews absorbed some of the native tribes. The Jews made use of every opportunity. They were industrious and skillful people. In the Jewish Ghanaian states were found kings, princes, governors, generals, secretaries, treasurers, revenue agents, judges, architects, engineers, doctors, historians, language interpreters, mathematicians, jewelers, sculptors, masons, carpenters, painters of art, goldsmiths, leather workers, potters, armorers, saddlers, blacksmiths, agriculturalists, etc. What I want to do is blow it up a little bit. Okay, so I blew it up a little bit. This is like Cameroon, over here in this area. So what I'm gonna do is take you here. Okay, don't you know that means Judah? It's spelled I-D-D-A-H, Yada. And I believe this is an 18th century map. If you look right above it, you got the Igbos. All right, the Igbos are actually Hebrews. That's what the word means, Hebrews. Okay. Now we're going to go into this book called History of Edom and Khazariah, the other Israel. The tribes of Ephraim and Benjamin went southwest, crossing the Niger River, and made contact with the people that called themselves Igala. Because of prior persecution, the Israelite tribes of Ephraim and Benjamin chose to identify themselves by new names: Igbo, after their leader Jeroboam, or Jabarigo, and Ephics, after their leader Ephidanis. In the Morning Star newspaper of Nigeria, April 22, 1984, an article was published revealing the facts concerning the Hebraic origins of the Igbo and Ephics tribe. Based on my faith in the Creator, I am a positive in asserting that the Igbos originated from Skeskinibo in southern Judea and are from the tribe of Judea, Yehuda. The ancestral father of the Igbos is Jabarigbo. Jeroboam. Jabarigbo and his family left Judea in the year 718 BC during the Assyrian occupation of the land of the Jews by conquest, and came into this part of the country, Nigeria, in 638 BC. The journey took 80 years to accomplish, and not a single member of the family of Jabirigbo died en route. Let me find another one. Right here you have the port of Judah. Right here. Port of Judah. Alright. Over here you have the where is it at? You have the Ashantis right here. Okay. A lot of these maps still have names or Hebrew names. You just have to go through it with a fine tooth and comb and start breaking down the maps and the names and finding out who came from what. or who was dwelling where. You still got the Hebrew names in these countries. So we know that the Ashantis, this is where the Levites were. Okay, the tribe of Levi, that was their name, Ashantis. All right, which are the Haitians today. All right, so show you a little something now. We're gonna go to page 22 and read about the third paragraph. It says, in the first place, many Hebrewisms were discovered in the Ashanti tribal customs. We just saw that on the map. And several Ashanti words were found to have a striking resemblance to those of equivalent Hebrew meaning. Alright, we'll go down here. It is possible to establish even a partial historical contact between the Ashantis of today and the Hebrews of fully 2,000 years ago or more. Alright, the problem might be approached either by trying to trace the story of the dispersion of the Jews, usually called the diaspora, or by the study of tribal beliefs and practices, and the records of early African travelers, particularly of those who had written of the manners and customs of the Negro before the inroads of Islamism had tended to utterly destroy all traditions of the past. So we know that the Ashantis, they were Hebrews, all right? They were Levites, and they had to change when they got conquered by the Hamites to Islam. So they practiced through faith Islam, but their origins and who they were Hebrews. All right, that's why when you watch the movie Roots, you see Kunta Kinte, and he talking about Islam, you know. But prior to that, he was an Israelite. Let me show you a picture of the Ashantis in Africa. All right, here's Israelites. These are Israelites. These are the Ashantis. If you notice, the breastplate shows symbols of the 12 tribes. Of course, our priests always wore a breastplate, a tribe of different symbols, of 12 symbols. You know, it had the emblems in it, the topaz, the emeralds, and you know, it showed the different things, the beryl. All right, each one represented a tribe, and the Levites are the ones who wore the necklaces. Here they are with the European conquerors of West Africa. All right. So we got to keep all this in mind when we're doing our study of who we are as a people. All right. It's called research. Ashantis, the next page over. It says, I want to go to, yeah, right there. Page 128. The Ashantis were located in the section of Central West Africa called the Gold Coast. Look, these are the Levites, located due south of what is known as French West Africa. The Ashanti dominated the tribal communities of this region and were respected both far and near as a fiercely independent tribe of proud warriors, but the Gold Coast was not their original spawning ground. As the evidence indicates, they actually reached their present location from the north, no doubt. Originally occupying the northern part of what is now the Gold Coast, it is believed that the Akan people were gradually driven south by lighter-skinned people. These are the Mohammedan people, all right, and took their abode in the forest, which gave them protection against the cavalry attacks of the invaders. Basically, when I said basically, those are the Arabs that came down, and they were, you know, we were fighting with the Arabs. Here's a book that you might want to read concerning how the Arabs came into West Africa and was kidnapping the Negroes, aka Israelites, and taking them back to Arabia. All right. Also, how they were occupying West Africa and setting up leaders over the people once they kidnapped them. Okay, so very. The Ashanti, of course, were a component part of the Akan. Okay, It is the general tradition of the people designated as Akan, to which the Ashantis are a part, agrees with the above scenario. The general sum of these traditions is that the Fantis, Ashantis, Wasawa, and in fact all the Twi speaking or Akan people were originally one tribe. This is page 132. Gold Coast Negroes are termed Coromantes or Coromantians in the jargon of the slave traders, and being a corruption of Coromantee, from whence the English had first exported slaves. They were distinguished from all other slaves by their courage, fierceness, and the tolerance of control, characteristics which caused numerous mutinies on board the slavers and several rebellions in the West Indies. In fact, every rebellion of slaves in Jamaica originated with and was generally confined to the Coromantes. Their independent character became so generally recognized that at one time the legislature of Jamaica proposed that an additional duty should be placed upon the Fanti, Akan, and Ashanti Negroes and all other commonly Coromantes that should be imported. The superior physique of the Gold Coast Negroes, however, rendered them very valuable as laborers, despite their dangerous character and loyalty.
Vamos chegar, sem moleza. Tem nego fujão aí. Tem nego fujão aí. Tem nego fujão aí. Eu não disse que não era pra você comer? Eu não falei que não era pra você comer? Eu não falei? Agora, e sem moleza, vamos! Tem nego fujão aí! Tem nego fujão aí!
Continued to be introduced into the island. This is why a lot of the Haitians and the people of the West Indies, they won't allow them into America. The spirit is strong. And, you know, even though they're sprinkled here in the Northern Americas, in the South Americans, you know, North America is predominantly showered with Judah. There's a lot of Judites here in the North Americas. That's why you see the tribes waking up. It said that Judah, in Deuteronomy 33, that Judah would be whom thou brothers praise. But Judah is the one with the voice. Okay? It says, so the Ashanti and countless other groups bearing the seed of Israel were carried off into captivity to spend another 400 plus years in bondage, result of their continued rebellion against the Holy One of Israel and his laws. For they were admonished by the prophet Moses that if they disobeyed the laws and commandments of the living God, living Most High, given to them upon Mount Sinai, that multiple curses would pursue them, including captivity, exile, plague, disease, desecration of family, violence, death, and famine, poverty. Okay, so these are the things that would come with that. That's why most of the brothers in the Americas, when they got here, their families were stripped apart from them. So we're under the curses right now, and the only way to get into the blessings is to follow the laws, statutes, commandments, and believe that Hamashiach Yahushua, the one the world calls Jesus Christ, came to save us. We repent to him. All right, we repent to him so he could take the prayers to the Most High. So, when you read...
Vão tirar o sumo do saião, misturar com mel e beber. Agora, se vocês se ferirem no mar, vocês pegam a mamona. Pega a mamona, amassa bem a mamona, bota na ferida. Bota na ferida e sara. Se a gente conseguir pegar algum deles vivo, pelo menos a gente não volta de bolso vazio pra Bahia.
Mas nós estamos no pé da serra, muito perto de Palmares.
E daí? Tá com medo? Aí só tem criança.
Não, mas os adultos não devem estar longe.
Nós acabamos com o exército holandês. Não podemos ficar com medo de um bando de negros. Oba!
Hey!
E comida, como é que é?
Vai ficando todo mundo quietinho aí, não adianta reagir, hein?